Growing up, my grandpa used to always regale me about stories from when he fought in the war. He fought in World War II and for around 3 years, I believe, and was stationed in the Philippines. While stationed in the Philippines, he encountered all kinds of things that were foreign to him, such as huge snakes. Growing up, I never really understood a lot of the stories he told me or some of the fears that he gained from the war until, I was older. One of such fears being the fear of snakes. Growing up, he and I would always go into nature together. He used to own this property in Randall, Washington. It's up in the country down, I think, south, like far south from, western. And we would always go walk around there for hours looking for deer, coyotes, ducks. I used to and still am very much into nature. Well, while there once, we opened up I think it was like a wagon or something like that was overturned, and there were a whole bunch of snakes in there. Growing up, I've always loved snakes. Even now, I still do. But back then, I didn't really understand that he had a fear of them. And when he kind of jumped back in shock, I was really confused. This is a man I've, grown up with and seen, face down bears and stuff without flinching. Yet, seeing this little snake pass by scared the living daylights out of him. It wasn't until later on when he told me that he encountered 20-foot long anacondas and pythons and stuff like that in the Philippines that I started understanding that the reasoning behind his fears. One time when he was in the Philippines, he was just wandering around the street and he saw, I think it was a python or an anaconda. I'm not exactly sure what kind of snake because neither of us really knew. But he saw a huge snake slithering across the street and go into the small little crevasse of a wall. The snake was much bigger than the wall, and just seeing that, I guess, installed a fear into him. That and having to do patrols through the jungle he must have seen things that he probably didn't tell me about that scared the living daylights out of him. Another story they told me that comes to memory is from when he was on patrol in a Jeep with a few other military men. So, from what he told me, they were driving along the road. Everything's quiet, You can hear the sounds of nature, but besides that, there's nothing. And all of a sudden, a sniper shot came down and hit the wheel of the Jeep that they're in, flipping over the car. Immediately, they all scrambled to cover behind it. They waited there for what I believe was a couple hours before they finally got the courage to come out. By that time, the sniper had already fled, knowing that his position, his cover had been blown. They never saw him. They never, heard from him again. But that was the closest my grandpa ever came to dying in World War II. It is odd thinking that if that sniper had hit his mark, which could have been my grandpa, that neither I, my mom, or anyone else would be here today. My grandpa told tons of other stories similar to this one, such as a time where he was in open combat and he had to dig in the dirt just with his fingernails because he was trying to get that much further down from the bullets. It must have been horrifying living that, and I hope I never experienced that myself.